Good evening and welcome to the Monday, May 21st meeting of the City Council of the City of Vista. Would you please rise and join me in a pledge of allegiance? I pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Call the roll of council. Councilmember Barr.
Present.
Lloyd.
Here.
Lynn.
Here.
Anderson.
Here.
Fowler.
Here.
Wozniak.
Here.
No present.
Great. Citizen input this evening. We have one, Christian Henning.
Do I make one?
Yep, come on up here and address the council.
Just in regard to raising the salaries for the city employees and the city council, we need to establish ourselves as a city that is growing at the same pace as other cities around here. And I think raising the salary of the city council members will do that. We're one of the premier places to live here. That should reflect on how we treat not only the people, but also the people who serve. So that's all I have to say about that.
Great. Thanks, Christian.
Thank you.
Moving on to approval of minutes. The first is the April 23rd normal meeting. Are there any errors or omissions? We have a motion to approve.
Motion to approve.
Second.
Okay, roll call vote. Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Lynn.
Yes.
Lloyd.
Yes.
Barr.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Wozniak.
Yes.
Carried 6-0.
Thank you. On May the 14th, we also had a special council meeting. As a sidebar, I'm pleased to tell you that the new lieutenant actually showed up to work today, Chief.
Yeah, it's good for a start.
Good. And so are there any errors or omissions on those minutes? I'd entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Roll call. Councilmember Barr.
Yes.
Wozniak.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Lloyd.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Lynn.
Yes.
Carried 6-0.
Thank you. You should have received your quarterly financials for March. You'll notice that, as we had discussed with Carrie, the quarterlies also include the comparison to the budget. She also used a very different format for you this time around. We've received some very positive feedback. I want to thank Steve Bork out in the audience from the Planning Commission. He added a lot of really good comments. I think you said that you were a financial nerd.
I am, yeah.
But Carrie, I certainly appreciated what you had to say. So if anybody else has anything to add, please talk to Carrie so that we can continue to improve. I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules and read all proposed ordinances and resolutions on the agenda by title only.
So moved.
Second.
All right. Excuse me. Councilmember Anderson.
Yes.
Barr.
Yes.
Wozniak.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Flynn.
Yes.
Lloyd.
Yes.
Carried 6-0.
Thank you. The first piece of business is an ordinance amending section 18-20, clearance of unsightly or unsanitary conditions on real property of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bella Vista to permit placing playground equipment or trampolines in the front yard of a residence under certain circumstances and for other purposes. This was the second reading. Councilmember Lloyd, I understand that you have some information on the ACC as well as a possible amendment.
Yes. Did you want me to
Sure.
mention that I did receive a phone call from Buddy Bernetti of the ACC who indicated that they definitely will not be approving any kind of playground equipment in the front yard, and that further they intend to add additional deed restrictions which would take effect, my understanding is, in 3 years, that would further prohibit all front yard structures of any kind.
Okay.
The amendment that I would like to propose would be that which is in your packet, which adds a definition of playground and equipment, which for purposes of this subsection, playground equipment includes trampolines and any other outdoor play structure or combination of structures designed for use by children that incorporate swinging, climbing, jumping, or sliding activities having a total land area footprint, physical land area coverage exceeding 64 square feet.
Okay, I'll take that as a motion.
Yes.
A seconder? Anybody wish to second?
I'll second it to get the discussion.
Thank you. All right, let's have the discussion.
On the amendment.
On the amendment only, yes, thank you. There's lots of discussion at the work session. Do you want to continue, Jim?
You know, if we're gonna go this route, 64 feet is entirely too small. I was looking around for playground equipment. There's not much out there because they put it up early in the spring and take it down as soon as summer gets here. But I wasn't able to find anything 64 feet or less.
Okay.
If we make it maybe 100, I may consider it. At 64, and you can fly.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else?
I don't really have any additional comments to make other than I think it's probably going to be a moot point at this point anyway. So,
Do remember that the boundaries of the POA do not align with the city.
okay.
So there are some areas where, this will take effect. A good point. Anything else, anyone?
Yeah, I have something to add. So when he says refrain from placing playground equipment in the front yard of residency.
Cannot hear?
What's that?
Cannot hear.
Okay. Refrain from placing playground equipment in the front yard of a residency. Basically what we're saying is we're going to refrain from it unless there's something that causes us to put it in the front yard, such as a slope or a grade or an issue where they don't have a backyard. That should probably be included because that would potentially help prevent people from just saying, you know what, I'm going to put it in the front yard versus putting it in my side or backyard.
So are you asking for an amendment to the amendment?
No, not at this time, but that's my
Just your observation, your
That's my
thoughts on it?
observation, absolutely.
Okay. Frank?
I guess if we're going to talk about playground equipment, I'm not sure what, if we're talking about whether it should be in the front yard or not. I guess I'm not sure what difference the size makes. So that's the one reason I don't like the amendment. If the amendment had no size in it, that you just, that's the definition and you can't put it there, I'd be fine with that. I don't think playground equipment should be in the front yard. The problem we get to is pretty soon you got colors, pretty soon you got other things that you're going to be arguing about and discussing, and there's just no way to cover all of that. So I think our best way to go is just no playground equipment, define however we want to define it, and the definition is not bad that you see in that amendment without the footage attached to it. And that's what I would do. That's what I would like to see. How we get there, I don't know. Or if anybody else wants to get there. But I think playground equipment in the front yard is just a no-go. Just, and I'm sorry, but location is a problem. And I understand that.
Great, thank you. Anyone else? Okay. So we'll have a roll. Yep. We'll have a roll call vote, please.
All right, this is on the amendment. Excuse me. Councilmember Lloyd,
Yes.
Councilmember Flynn,
No.
Councilmember Wozniak,
No.
Councilmember Anderson,
No.
Councilmember Fowler,
No.
Barr,
No,
defeated.
So we're back to the original amendment. We just had second reading. Before we move on in the agenda, is there any other discussion?
I would like to make a motion that we move to third and final.
Okay.
Suspend the rules.
Suspend the
move
rules
to
over the third and final. Is there a seconder?
second.
Okay. Any discussion?
Why? I just don't think there's any reason to have any, put it off any farther. I have a pretty good feeling I know how this is going to go, and like I said, let's just go ahead and wrap it up and move on. I mean, I went through all my various reasons why I don't support it. I don't know if you want me to reiterate all those here. I can if you want me to. But just at the end of the day, I just don't think it's a good idea. I don't think the residents of the city of Bella Vista are going to be happy with it. And again, I got a whole litany of reasons. If you want me to read all of them.
No, that's fine, thank you.
Okay. Anyone else?
Okay,
We'll make a motion to suspend the rules.
ready for a vote? All right. Councilmember Barr,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Wozniak,
No.
Flynn,
Abstain.
and Lloyd.
No.
Fails.
Mayor?
The mayor can vote to adopt it if he so choose.
No,
Okay. So motion to suspend the rules is defeated. So we're still on second reading. I'll debate on that. Let's wait discussion.
What moves to third next week?
Okay, the next is creating a tree advisory board and defining its purpose and membership and further purposes. That's the second reading. If you remember, last month we had the first reading, and we also created a tree advisory board. However, it is not taking effect until this ordinance takes effect after third reading next month. The next piece of business is repealing section 16-26, solicitation from persons driving motor vehicles prohibited of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bella Vista. Counselor?
Gave you a brief explanation. In fact, I gave you a pretty lengthy explanation of this at the work session. This is just I'm suggesting to you in my recommendation to repeal an ordinance we've got on the books, which I believe right now would not stand a constitutional test. This is related to all the litigation you've heard about regionally and in the state regarding cities being sued for prohibiting roadside solicitation. And those ordinances have been struck down, and ours is very similar to that. I've asked our police department many months ago to no longer enforce that ordinance pending results of that litigation, and that litigation has not been successful for the municipal governments involved, so I've just recommended that you repeal that section.
Okay. Do you want to move third and final?
That's it.
Yes, sir, I'm sorry.
Has there not been some cities that have come up with a way to accomplish the intent that they think is now constitutional or whatever, and I don't think it's been tested yet anywhere? Am I not reading the news correctly?
There are efforts to address this issue in terms of traffic safety. And one of the concerns I have, at least with some of the speedy attempts to be concerned about traffic rather than the actual soliciting, is that the courts will determine that that is a pretext, and they're saying you're actually just trying to stop the speech more than you are trying to control the traffic. And so, based on the discussions I'm aware of amongst the legal community of the cities in Arkansas, I expect there to be a need for some good objective traffic study or information regarding potential traffic accidents and the risks of this. And then based on that, I do believe that the city could come back and adopt some reasonable traffic regulations to address this, to make sure people don't get hit on the side of the road, or cars don't get rear-ended because someone stopped in a roadway, and to clearly address that. I just don't think that we're there yet, and certainly I would agree with you to the extent that it's a traffic issue, that it is something that the city has every right to be concerned with. One particular issue for us is going to be, however, it might be an issue of traffic study in Little Rock or in Rogers, but do those facts necessarily apply to what's going on in Bella Vista in terms of traffic counts and all? There are all kinds of things. My concern is that whatever we do really be based on public safety, and that's going to be based on the traffic-related issue, lest we be accused of just working our way around and finding a way to block this through a circuitous route and having the courts determine we're acting pretextually.
But there have been efforts, and as far as I know, that some of, they're moving in, some of those may in fact still be in court. In fact, I think Rogers is still in court.
Okay, thank you.
Other questions, observations? Okay, I'd entertain a motion to suspend the rules and move to third and final.
So moved.
Second.
Thank you.
Comment on that.
Sir.
I was wondering if we really needed to move it to third and final, if we're repealing that. You know, if someone had in mind to sue us, we could just say, oh, we're in the middle of repealing it. I doubt the lawsuit would continue forward since it would be a waste of everybody's, you know, just let it repeal slowly.
Well, as I've said, I asked our police department to not enforce this, and they have not been, so there's not going to be anyone potentially with a complaint to say, hey, we stopped them from doing it because we've not been enforcing this. The only potential risk is someone could see this on the books and say, I intend to go to Bella Vista and do this, and they have a rule on the books that says I can't, and then try and sue us for declaratory relief or something, so and get attorney's fees. That's the only potential risk. But this has been going on more than a year, it hadn't happened yet, so it's not a crisis, I'll put it that way. So, but however you all want to handle it, I'm sure we'll be fine.
I just thought we could just repeal it slowly.
Okay, anybody else have a comment?
I guess if we're not enforcing it, there's no sense of having it in writing, so we might as well get rid of it right now.
Okay, so there's a motion on the table to suspend the rules and move to third and final reading.
Okay. Call the roll.
Yes.
Yes, there was. Yep. Councilmember Lloyd,
Yes.
Flynn,
No.
Wozniak,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
carried 5-1.
Okay, third and final reading. Repealing section 16-26, solicitation from persons driving motor vehicles prohibited of the Code of Ordinances of the City of Bella Vista. Any further discussion? A motion to approve?
So moved.
Second.
Frank, thank you. Any final words? Wayne?
Okay. Councilmember Barr,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Wozniak,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Yes.
carried 6-0.
Thank you. We move into resolutions. The first is approving the reappointment of Janelle Rudlazik to the Bella Vista Arts Council. Is there any discussion at all?
Recommend approval.
Thank you. Second?
Second.
Yeah. Wayne?
Okay. Councilmember Anderson,
Yes.
Fowler,
Yes.
Barr,
Yes.
Wozniak,
Yes.
Flynn,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Yes.
carried 6-0.
Thank you. A resolution authorizing the mayor and city clerk to enter into a contract with Breeden Dodge Chrysler Jeep Inc. of Fort Smith pursuant to a state procurement contract for the purchase of one 2017 Ram 1500 Tradesman Crew Cab 4x4 pickup in the amount of $27,445 to be used by the Community Development Services Department. Is there any discussion?
Yes.
Yes, Jim?
It's an awful lot of truck for what's going to be useful.
Okay.
You've got 5 or 6 four-wheel drives sitting behind the building. What's this guy going to haul other than himself and maybe a few signs or something in the back? It's an awful lot of vehicle for what it's going to be used for, regardless of what we may get down the road when we sell it.
Right, and they will also be in the bush. We're putting a concerted effort to go after the dumping, but I know that your other point will be where we have enough trucks already to perhaps do that. But we are going to go after the dumpers even more than we have before, and in many cases, the only way to get back there is with a large 4x4. Because Chief, I don't think all of your vehicles have the ability to get back into some of those bush areas without a great deal of angst. So, thanks, Jim, for your comment. Anybody else?
I mean, what would the net difference be, kind of an estimate between this and the smaller truck, and then you take it, you take it to turn it back in later, or get value for it? I mean, is it anything that's going to be significant?
Don't know my trucks.
You have to get back and look at the state rate. Because at the price we're paying, it's a hell of a truck, and you can't buy it for that. There's other trucks out there in the state rate.
Any other comments? Okay, entertain a motion to approve.
So moved.
Second.
Any further discussion? Mike?
Okay. Councilmember,
Yes, sir.
How quickly do we need the truck? Is it something we need right now because we have a person? Is the state bid about to run out? Or we'll have to wait till next year?
We're about to hire a person.
We're about to hire a person.
We're building
So
this
we need a
factory.
vehicle, so that's why we've got to buy the truck soon, you think?
Yes, sir.
What I was getting at is, could we hold off a month
All right.
and
No,
get some of
what
these
they-
numbers?
yeah, what they found, if you looked at the sticker information that was in your work session packet, they found an 18, you can't buy them anymore, they're 19s now. So they saved quite a bit of money by doing that.
17.
Or 17, I mean. So the sticker price was quite a bit lower, or 40-something if I remember right. And we got it for 27.
I see.
That's the way that it was explained to me by,
I'm not fighting the price, it's just a big, we're gonna spend $400 to sticker it up. So we look like a service truck.
Okay, there is a motion on the floor.
okay.
And I'll vote for it. It's just, you start playing this game pretty soon, $2 here, $2 there, pretty soon you're talking about money.
Okay,
Councilmember Pollard,
Yes.
Marr,
Yes.
Lloyd,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Wozniak,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes,
carried 6-0.
thank you. The next resolution is establishing salaries for the mayor, city council member, and city clerk. And Councilmember Wozniak, you have
I
an
have an
amendment.
amendment for this, it only affects one line, and it is for the city clerk. We gave him all these accolades a week ago, and then we turned around and told him, oh, by the way, in order for you to get that, you gotta run for office and you have to win. So my proposal is, we kick in this new amount for him, July 1 of 18, you're only looking at $1,500.
And I think it's the right thing to do. I have also confirmed with our finance director that yes, we can absorb that.
No
You know,
issues
if we're
here.
going to use the budget for an excuse, you got 7 months to find $1,500. We need a break.
You're moving to amend to reflect that's.
Yes, just that one line, yeah.
second,
Now the discussion. John?
I agree with what Jim's amendment is, but I thought if we moved it up 6 months, it'd be $3,000. 6,000 for a whole year, 3,000 for half.
Actually, Kerry looked at more than that because there may be an extra payment when we get back into December, so we rounded it up to 4.
Yeah,
And
I
we can
still
still
think
absorb.
his theory is correct. It's just a question in the math.
Whatever the bottom line is, it needs to happen now.
Yep. Thanks, John. Anybody else? Okay, so, that's right. So the vote is on the amendment.
Okay. Councilmember Lloyd,
Yes.
Lynn,
Yes.
Wozniak,
Yes.
Anderson,
yes,
Fowler,
Yes.
Marr,
Yes.
carried 6-0.
Okay, now we go back to the new amended resolution and discussion.
Oh, no, go ahead.
John?
Well, I just thought that the analysis Melissa Cruz did was the most thorough and analytical on this subject matter probably since we've been a city. I was really impressed with the quality of her work and affected my thinking on the issue in a positive way.
Greg?
The only thing that I had was when I did the math on the 15,000 with the number of hours worked, so at 30 hours a week, you're looking at 961 for this position. It's pretty low. When you go to McDonald's and then they only get 10, 15 an hour.
This is the city clerk position?
Yes, sir. City clerk. And, but my understanding is it's going from a paper to a digital, so that's requiring quite a few extra hours.
It is at the moment, yes.
What do the hours drop to after it's in a digital system?
It's probably going to average 25, roughly.
When you go to 25, it's 11.50 an hour. That's what it works out approximately. seems a little bit low for the responsibilities of that position.
I remember 4 years ago, Jim, you were saying it should be around 24, is that?
I don't know the number, I know, but we were nowhere in the ballpark. And of course, the job has evolved.
It has.
What it is.
It does. So are you suggesting an amendment?
I would make an amendment to move it to $20,000.
20?
Yes.
Okay.
So this has to be in writing, I'm gonna write it down, so.
Effective July 1.
What you're doing is moving to strike the number $15,000 and insert
Correct.
$20,000.
Okay. So the amendment then is to strike the 15,000 beginning July 1st and move it to 20,000. We can still cover that. So you made a motion?
Yeah.
Second?
Second.
Thank you, Jim.
And that doesn't change our first motion, even though we talked about different numbers in there. It
You
doesn't
can-
change that, so it's, if we approve this, it's for the full year, but the half-year thing still is in effect.
No, all this does is, on the Wozniak amendment, currently your proposal reads, city clerk, $15,000 annually beginning July 1, 2018. If this, the motion to amend is going to change that $15,000 to $20,000. And in 2018, if you look in section 3, that's prorated as of July 1 for the whole year. So it's not going to be retroactive, it's just starting July 1 of 18 when it begins. Prorated at that annual rate. It'll go from 15 to 20, that's what the motion to amend is about.
Anybody else? Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so you're voting on the amendment.
Okay. Councilmember Anderson,
Yes,
Fowler,
Yes.
Marr,
Yes.
Boyd,
Yes,
Flynn,
Yes.
Wozniak,
Yes.
carries.
Carries, okay, now we're back to the new amended resolution. Is there any further discussion? Or,
No, I got nothing.
no, I'm sorry.
I just back, I read something.
It was right church on pew.
in taking a look at the mayor's salary, I'm not saying that it probably is not maybe even a good number. I'm just saying that it's, in my mind, too significant an increase in such a short period of time. Some of the rationale that was given by the treasurer who put that together, not the treasurer, the human resources person, talked about quite possibly, or I'm not sure exactly what word she used, that the initial concept was that it would be a part-time mayor back in '67. She wasn't around then, and it had nothing to do with being a part-time number. I was around, and we never talked about part-time. So it was set up as a full-time position from the beginning. I think we're getting up a little close to some of the mayors, for instance, the one in Bentonville, who has, in my mind, significantly more responsibility and more of a job than the mayor of Bella Vista. They have an electric department, they have a sewage department, they have a water department, very large. They have an economic development that goes on, full-time and is very robust. None of those things are happening in Bella Vista, and I don't believe they will happen. There is no place for economic development. I'm not saying none, I'm just saying I don't think it's going to be a very robust activity. And I think if people look at that and see those kinds of increases in such a short period of time, I just don't believe it's needed for that. We're not competing for, and that's one of the problems with elected officials. Everybody talks about competition. We're not competing against anybody that wants to be a mayor of Bentonville. We're not competing against anybody that wants to be a mayor of Centerton. They can't be a mayor of Bella Vista because they don't live here. So we're not competing. There's no competition out there. I would suggest strongly that those numbers be reduced. And if you need a resolution, a modification, I would recommend that we go to $85,000 beginning July 1st through the end of December, and raise it about 4%, whatever that number would be, into the 2019 timeframe, July 1st.
Okay. Just so everybody
the
understands.
The recommendation is 85,000, July 1st through December 2018, and a 4% increase after that, whatever that number is. My
Okay.
calculator's not helping me out.
Okay, well, you're doing that. Just so everybody remembers, when Mrs. Cruz did this, she based it on the value of the job. And if I remember correctly, the mayor of Bentonville is earning $127,000, so that's $30,000 less. Jason's just doing
Okay,
something.
so my understanding, Councilmember Anderson is moving to amend Section 1 to read, Mayor, $85,000 annually, beginning July 1, 2018 through December 31, 2018, then $88,400 annually beginning January 1, 2019.
Okay?
4%.
Okay. I think another thing that I would like to mention, since we mentioned the fact about the Bentonville mayor, I don't believe the Bentonville mayor gets a 10% add-on for his retirement.
Nobody gets acres. Okay, so need a second to the motion?
Well, I mean, is that all?
Second motion.
Okay, we got a second.
You know, I support where it is right now. I do think our mayor position is a complex position. We need very competent people, knowing what they're doing, and so we could talk about this in regards to our current mayor now. There is an election coming up, and I believe Peter's going to run again. But there's not to say he's not going to have opposition, and we don't know who's going to put their name in the hat if they will. Moving our compensation to a higher number, I think would be a good thing to do, because it might encourage someone else to step up that might have be very highly capable themselves. Actually, moving it to $97,000 a year, we're still in the bottom 25%, 25% quartile of the different comparisons that we have, whether it's the region, the cities in the region, whether it's cities of comparable size, and even comparing ourselves to people that may be running vendor teams or whatever in the Walmart community. I think 97,000 is a very, very fair number. Having myself come from the vendor community and operating in the world I did, I was really surprised at the compensation number that we allowed for our mayor. I thought it was really low. And two, I don't, we can debate or not debate, but, we're a real city with real city issues. Right now, we have 30,000 residents with a projection of 42,000 by 2030 and 52,000 by 2040. And we're going to try to leap ourselves a little bit ahead and try to, get ourselves back to where we need to be in order to, for qualified people to consider this position into the future. We're going to need good, strong leadership. Anyone that thinks this is a quasi-volunteer position, I'm not even saying anybody here is, but I guarantee you there are people in the community that do. I can absolutely guarantee you it is not. I've observed the actions of Peter over the last year and a half, and he not only is a very strong leader, but very strong manager, but he's a strong thought leader. He has management skills. I think they're outstanding. The knowledge required to effectively manage city resources, taxpayer funds, and ensure that we're managing to the requirements set forth by federal, state governing bodies requires a smart and adept leadership. And actually, we're still working on ourselves, Bella Vista being a relatively new city. We're still organizing, putting together the correct structure, getting the right people, putting in place the right processes, which I've been very impressed with. It's a tall task. Not everyone has a resume and qualifications to continue building a solid foundation such as that. The most important thing we can do as we move forward and we continue to grow this city is to do things right. And the easiest thing to do would be to screw it up, and we don't want to do that. We also have additional complexity that comes with the fact that we have two other entities to consider and work with that have their own agendas, and that being the POA and Cooper. We need effective relationships with that. It's a different dynamic. Now, I think it's obvious from the data, and we've already mentioned this, pulled together by Melissa, our HR director, that we have a large disadvantage in compensation offering on any comparison level you want to choose. Today, admittedly, we have been fortunate to have competent people step forward and fill the roles in Bella Vista's early development. However, we have to ask ourselves a few questions. Is it fair to our current leadership in being so far behind the curve and compensating them for their efforts? Can we keep the lucky streak going next round? Will we be missing an opportunity to source a person of high quality in the future simply because the compensation for the work and responsibility required is too low? And is good, just good, really good enough? I don't think it is. I think we need people really high quality to fill the mayor role here in Bella Vista. So, that's just where I am, and I'm going to support the proposal currently as it is suggested.
Okay. Anyone else? John?
Well, I'd just like to mention one factor that Bentonville has defined benefit pension plan, and our concept of having a 10% match, even though it's a very generous match, is a much more prudent way to go for the city. One of the reasons places like California and Illinois are in so much trouble is because of defined benefit pension plans, and a lot of people gave other people pensions that didn't really understand math well enough, didn't understand actuarial science. And so I think what we're doing in Bella Vista is very prudent, more prudent than what Bentonville and some of the other cities are doing.
Anyone else? Okay, we have a motion on the table to amend the amended resolution, and Wayne, you're on.
Okay. This is on the amendment.
Well, I don't know if we have a second yet.
Yes, second, Jim, second.
Okay.
Councilmember Barr,
No.
Flynn,
No.
Alder,
No.
Lloyd,
Yes.
Anderson,
Yes.
Wozniak.
Yes.
Mayor, you may vote in favor of the amendment if you so desire.
No, I do not.
So it fails.
It fails.
Okay. So we're back to the original second amended resolution, which is including the increase for the city clerk to $20,000 beginning on July the 1st. Is there any further discussion? Okay.
I'm sorry, right now we're voting on the full total amendment, right?
Yes, we're voting on the as written.
I would just like to say one additional thing. So the increase that we're proposing for a mayor, and some people may consider it a large number, but decisions that mayors make can have large financial impact on a community. One wrong decision or one miscalculation, you can cost yourself way more money than the additional funding that we're asking for compensation for that position. So
That's our job to make the decisions, by the way. He brings them to us, we make the decisions. So we are the ones who go to screw up if something happens.
yeah, I understand, but we need a confident mayor that makes sure when he's putting everything together for us, because it's easy to miss things. It's easy to miss things in the underlying numbers. It just is. There are a lot of numbers there, and so I'm just saying, a good, confident mayor with really great experience making smart decisions can be a benefit to the city financially.
And the number does not guarantee that at all. The number you put in that amendment is not a guarantee that you're going to get that.
No, but it can help.
No matter what number you put there,
Hopefully, it
you're
can
going to
help
get,
us
you're going to get whatever
source
kind of
the
person
strongest
you
people
want.
possible.
And
for
the
the
current
position.
one that
Okay.
we have now, that we think is very good, ran on a much smaller number. So I think most people that we want to get that particular job are not going to do it because of the money. I really believe that. If you're going to get somebody there that's doing it just because of the money, I don't think that's the one you'll want for mayor. And the current one's a good example of that. He didn't do it for the money, obviously, because he wasn't close to that number when he started, and he knew what the number was.
Yep, but at the end of the day, we need to fairly compensate the leadership of the city. And I feel it's
And that's
fair.
debatable as to what's fair.
And I remind you, this is not about me, this is about the position
That's right.
That is exactly
that
right.
was valued by Melissa.
If you ask Mayor McCaslin, he will tell you right out, don't run for the money.
I'm not saying run for the money. I'm saying
that
fairly
but you're-
compensate the
But you're
people.
putting the carrot and the stick out there for the next guy or no, whatever.
Okay, let's keep it under control. Anything else? Anyone else? Okay, there needs to be a motion now for this resolution which has been amended.
So moved.
Any seconder?
Second.
All right, any last minute discussion? Okay, Wayne, you're on.
Okay. Councilmember Anderson.
No.
Councilmember Wozniak.
No.
Councilmember Lloyd.
No.
Councilmember Fowler.
Yes.
Councilmember Flynn.
Yes.
Councilmember Barr.
Yes.
Mayor, you may vote in favor if you so desire.
I vote in favor.
Motion carries. 4-3.
Okay. Moving on to our last resolution for the evening is adopting an official flag for the city of Bella Vista. We had sort of a straw look at things at the council meeting, or sorry, at the work session. And we have selected one. It's in your packet. I want to thank Dave Barfield for working with the school. And is there, let's get the motion out of the way first. So is there a mover?
I'll make the motion.
Second. Okay. Any discussion at all? So,
Okay.
no, I think Doug has
Around the
something.
flags.
Oh, I'm sorry.
No, I would just like to thank the efforts of the Art Council, for making the effort to put this out to the children of Cooper Elementary. And also, you had how many entries? 400?
Close to 600.
Close to 600 entries. So a lot of kids participated and, put time and effort into it, and thought it was a great exercise. And I think the flag is awesome. It's going to really represent the city of Bella Vista well. So, tell them thank you, and also for I think it was a young man that won, right?
No, Briley, Woolridge.
Riley?
Briley.
Woolridge. Right. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, Wayne?
Ready for the vote? Okay. Councilmember Lloyd.
Yes.
Flynn.
Yes.
Wozniak.
Yes.
Anderson.
Yes.
Fowler.
Yes.
Barr.
Yes.
Carried. 6-0.
Thank you. The award ceremony, by the way, is this Thursday morning at 7:45 at Cooper Elementary. So if you're up and around that time in the morning, I'd invite you to join us. David, I imagine it's in the cafeteria at Cooper?
Correct.
Great. Okay. Meetings and announcements. The next city council work session will be Monday, June the 18th at 5:30 here in the court building. And the next regular meeting of the city council will be Monday, June 25th at 6:30, also here in court. The planning commission work session will be Thursday, May the 3rd at 4:30 here in the court building. And the planning commission regular meeting will be June the 11th, also in the court. And the board of zoning adjustment will be June 19th at 5:30 here in the court building. On behalf of your city council, I wish you and your families a safe and enjoyable Memorial Day. Thank you. We're adjourned.